This is Fred. Fred is a commonly misunderstood cell known as sperm. You see, all his life, Fred has been trying to find true love. But every time an opportunity arises for him to finally achieve that goal of his, false alarms were almost nearly around every corner. It was a hard, long, and tiring journey for our little man, but this is the story of how Fred finally found true love. But before all of that, let me tell you how exactly Fred was made. There exists a process called spermatogenesis, which creates sperm. It begins with a diploid germ cell, which divides by mitosis to create a diploid spermatogonium. Then, after DNA replication, it undergoes mitosis once more to produce a diploid spermatocyte. This is where meiosis begins. Meiosis 1 produces 2 haploid secondary cells, each with 23 chromosomes. They then each undergo meiosis 2, which produces 4 haploid spermatodes. These spermatodes then differentiate into sperm cells or spermatozoa. And now, the end results in 4 haploid cells. And that exactly is how Fred was made. Oh, and before I forget, I should probably talk about what exactly semen is. There are 2 components of semen, sperm and seminal plasma. The seminal plasma is made from the seminal vesicle, prostate, and pelvis gland. The plasma is particularly important as it allows the sperm to enter the vaginal cavity without senseless murder and destruction of innocent sperm cells, as the interior of the vagina is hostile and acidic, and, well, the sperm comprises of sperm. Semen has a nucleus which carries the father's genetic information in the head, and the tail has a cellular structure called the flagellum that allows the sperm to travel like little pathways. Wait, no. Lastly, I have to briefly go over how exactly Fred will maneuver his way out. I promise, this is the last thing. So as I was saying, the testes are composed of these coiled structures which are called seminiferous tubules, and this is where sperm is produced. Right above these tubules, there is a structure called the epididymis, which is where the sperm will travel to and await maturity. The ejaculation process then begins as the penis fills with blood and becomes erect. And with sufficient stimulation, the mature sperm will displace themselves away from the epididymis through the vas deferens, which is a muscular tube that propels sperm forward through contraction. The sperm will then arrive at the ampulla, where the secretions from the seminal vesicle are then added. From the ampulla, the semen heads towards the ejaculatory duct towards the urethra, passing first through the prostate gland where the protective fluid is added to form semen. Then finally, the semen is ejaculated, and bam, babies. Kidding. Now that I've covered all that boring stuff, here's the continuation of Fred's story. The day had come, the big day. For Fred, it was like his first non-existent day at school. In fact, it was a big day for all sperm. The day that they got to leave their home. 500 million sperm were preparing themselves to be ejected into the home of their potential love. So, it happened. Unfortunately, many were not as lucky to continue their journey, as this new acidic environment killed many too soon. However, many were also able to find their ways through, due to the protective elements in the fluid that surrounded them. Fred was one of them. Next up for our little friend and his friends was the cervix. They had to pass through it in order to get to the uterus. Luckily, Fred came at the perfect time, as the uterus is more commonly closed tight, but because of something called ovulation, the uterus would be open for a few days. They all swim easily through the cervical fluid as it is much more water-like for easier entry, and so Fred's long journey ahead remains really far. As the sperm continued through, many millions more pass away, either from the acidic fluid or from the multiple fluids hidden in the uterus. The journey once again takes a turn for the more tragic. The immune system on the other side has mistaken the sperm cells as a foreign invader and has sent vicious soldier cells to attack. This is where Fred and his friends part ways. Half of the sperm swim towards the empty fallopian tubes where the other half makes their way towards the egg. At the other end, the cilia inside the fallopian tube make subtle motions to bring the egg towards the uterus to meet the sperm. Due to these strong currents made from the cilia, sperm have to constantly battle their way through, and once more, they die as many get caught in these cilia. But wait! A magical membrane is going to save the day, as they cover the head of the sperm, causing them to become hydroactive. Finally, the egg is at reach. Only a few dozen healthy sperm are alive. The egg is covered in a layer called the corona radiata, a protective mechanism that makes it a little bit harder for little Fred. But he must push through and reach the zona pellucida, which has special sperm attractant receptors which enable the sperm to burrow into the inner layer. Now the first sperm to make contact inside will fertilize the egg. After a few minutes, the cells will fuse and the sperm will be pulled inside the egg's membrane. Wait, did I mention who that sperm was? No? Never mind then. I'll suppose you just have to use your imagination.